Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our legacy talk. We have our alum, Tiannan, who's going to talk about her work and her journey from MA service design to her professional life now. I'm going to hand over to now Tiannan, you. Could you please introduce yourself and welcome back to the course.
Yes, nice. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I'm Tiannan. So I graduated from 2021. So after I graduate, I become a UX designer, and now I become a product designer. So here today, I'm love to share my journey, how I from service design and come into product design. And this is a talk I prepared for people who probably like interested in working UI UX. So if anyone here you got any question about how to become a UI UX designer or any question about to interview or anything, just feel free to pop the question in the chat or just jump in. I prefer this become a communication chance for everyone to just really ask a question about what you want to know. So yeah, let's start. So I prepared an agenda here. It looks a bit long, but like should be shorter than this. So yeah, I would just quickly talk through my main project, and then I will talk a bit more about how I become a UI UX designer, how I get my first job, and some tips for how you maybe like find your first position, and also later a little bit more about how to grow as a product designer. So yeah, let's start. Yeah, so first I would like to let you quickly know me in 6 things. So first, I'm from Sichuan, Chengdu, China. I'm a twin, so I would say I always be a good team player, and I believe you guys know that like design is always a teamwork. So it's really important to like have a good communication with your teammates and also know how to cooperate with other people. So yeah, design is always a teamwork. Yeah, so then I want to say, so my background, I probably is like a typical journey for many people here. Like you used to be a graphic designer or visual designer, and then you want to like transfer yourself, become like a product designer or user experience designer. So I had a background first in my BA was in visual communication, and then I coming to UAL and I graduated in 2021 from service design. After I graduate, I'm coming back sometime to do this like industry mentor with UAL. So normally I will like match with UX user experience or like service design student. My so I'm here to help people about their early career suggestions. So maybe like how to prepare for your interview or like review profile, but also I will help for people to like really clean their minds about do they really want to become a UX designer, and also what's maybe like what's right for themselves. Because you may hear the words like UX designer, product designer, but for different company or industry, that could be very different things. Also, I'd like to mention, so I start my career in pandemic. So at the beginning, most of my work was like remotely work, and I will say tech industry is always quite globally or like you could meet people. So for example, like one project, you could meet people from all from different country. So it's really cool to like know people from different background, from different culture, and also like respect people about their personal things as well. So yeah, it's I would say tech industry is really interesting and also lots of challenge every day. Yeah, so later on, a bit more about my experience. So I'm currently as a UX focus product designer at Burberry, and before this, my first role was UX designer at Collective Food. So Collective Food is a food supply chain startup, and also before this job, I used to work for like 2 different agencies. Like some of them, one of them are more like digital products driving, another is more like a marketing thing. It's more about digital marketing. So yeah, that's roughly like my background, and there is some of those clients I had in the past. So next, I may just quickly talk through my main projects, because yeah, I just want to give more time about UI UX and also for people's questions. So my main project, I would say like is about it's very like under that background about COVID-19. I feel like many of our classmates in my year, our topic is about COVID-19. And then, so my project is about how can we support those artists or craft people in tourist destination that's their life infected by COVID-19. So you can imagine, because lockdown, there's no one coming to their country or city anymore, but how can they still continue their work or trading their artwork during the pandemic? Yeah, so from there, I just want to like maybe quickly summarize a few things I did or like about this project. So my service has like 3 typical user. So one is like those craft people who want to sell their product, sell their artwork online, or like continue trading their products. Second is like those active user. Those people could be I would also call them like art hunters. So they are looking for those local artists, maybe in their local area, and they can post those art online, or like or they can become those like local tourist guides to bring people to those art, to those craft people's workshop, or those art to see those art craft people's work. And then another main category is like those people who travel to those places, or they want to travel to this city or this country, but because pandemic they cannot. So they can use this app or this platform to discover the local art, but also maybe in future they're planning, okay, when I able to travel, I would love to come in here to see this craft art. So yeah, that's basically the story. And then second is like for this project, I did some UI work at the beginning. So when I look back this UI work, I would say it's actually quite awful. So it's not like it's not follow any UI standard, or like anyway, it's like there's a big gap to improve it. So next, I will just come into our topic about UI UX designer and product design. So first I want to ask, is there any people here who would love to become a UI UX designer in future, or anyone interested in this industry? Maybe like give me a hands up, would be really helpful. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I didn't see any response, but yeah, okay, but anyway, I will just continue. So yeah. Yes, thank you, Sarah. Right. Yes, lovely. Good to see people interested into doing this. So UI UX designer is normally will separate in 2 parts. So one is more like UX, and other is UI. So very obvious, UI is more about design the interface, design the visual output. But user experience, you are like more focused on what's the right logic between each screen generally to just make people easier to understand what's a UX and UI. So UX is more like you decide which screen will jump to which screen. So that's very easy to understand, I guess. But more is about like you are more focused on the experience, the whole experience. And UI is more about how you can present this experience in a beautiful way, and also how to like match people's expectation or the business expectation about like for example, like for Burberry, we have those style guideline. You need to follow those style guideline, and but like for experience, we don't really have like experience guideline. So it's more about how you really bring the right thing to the product. Yeah, so let me back to here. Okay, so I don't know if I really answered this question. If anyone want me to talk a bit more about what's UX, what's UI, just please write me some questions. Later on, I want to say like what's the difference between UX designer and product designer. So like as I mentioned, like UX designer probably like more focused on user satisfaction and ensure that product actually fulfills the user's needs. It's more about the design, more about the experience, like meaning about user's experience. But product designer could be like more flexible, or it's more like an undefined role. Some people maybe call it like full stack designer. So your main goal is like to solve the problem. So that's the most important things. It's less matter about what's the methodology you to achieve this goal. So for example, when we want to design a guideline for people to use a new platform, if you feel like you provide some copy for the guideline, is easier than it's easier than create video onboarding video. So you probably will just use this copy to share what's to become the guideline instead of use visual video things. So more about solve the problem itself, less about so like you are designing a digital product, so you have to use digital product. It's more about what's the right approach or solution for the current situation. So yeah, next I want to say is about how I landing on my first role. So I want to say like in my year it's a bit like challenge. So we don't have like a PSW visa. So my year is you kind of have to find somewhere they are willing to sponsor you. And in my case, my year, as what I know is that I'm the only few people left stay in UK and probably like doing things about UI UX. I probably be the only one. I feel like that, and yeah. So it has been a struggling time on my case, but I feel like this moment people have PSW visa that will be very helpful and really just use your opportunity in the right place and also go fast. Yeah. So my first job is a food. So my first company is a food supply chain. We are also a startup. At that moment when I joined, they are like saying, "Well, I need a UX designer," but somehow I will more likely to say they need a service designer. So it's more about how there is like a food supply chain things. So food supply chain could be quite complicated, and somehow people couldn't really say what's the process, and then become quite difficult for tech team to figure out what's the right digital solution to support people's daily work. and then on they think, okay, I need a UX coming to solve the problem. But somehow after I join, I'm doing lots of work about like map out the service journey and also service blueprint, which I will say that's also the skill helped me get this job. So you may be interested in what's an interview process. So for those days, like tech companies interview could be like really long journey. Sometimes it's about 5 rounds, even coming to 8 rounds. So when I interview here, it has been not too much, like 4-5 rounds. So like I meet hiring manager first, like to after recruiter call, I meet hiring manager to really understand what his expectation for this role. And then second, I come in to share my case study. So talk about those projects I did in the past. During this stage, you probably want to share things more related to their company, or like from the first round, from the hire manager round, you kind of, okay, that's blah, blah, blah scale this company want to have. You can even just ask this question, like what kind of scale you are looking for, because product designer or UX designer is not very like defined, very clear about what exactly scale you need to have or methodology you will use. So just really ask them. Every company could be different. You can imagine for food supply chain is very different from e-commerce company. So yeah, from there, we did like case study, maybe like related to their product, and then it's become the third round is a whiteboard challenge. It's quite like popular things in UX UI this industry. So around white challenge around, there could be have 2 things. One thing is that whiteboard challenge. So you have like 1 hour or like 1 to 2 hours to do a challenge in front of them. It could be any random question they want you to solve. For whiteboard challenge, I feel it's more about to understand what's your thinking process. They want to know how you study your questions or how you find the solution. But for those, there another challenge is like take home homework. So people will tell you to there's a task. So like design field screen for me. So for those companies, I feel they are more like UI focused. They are more interesting to say what kind of output in more like a visual scale you have. So that could be quite different. From the challenge they gave to you, you could probably understand more about what would you do after you get hiring. So it's more about UI interaction design, or more about those like experience or like solve the problem. And then the final round, is always the most important one. Is like culture fit. You will meet other cross-functional team, could be people you work closely daily, like product manager or engineer. So every team have different way to do their product management. So you probably want to say if you can fit in with them. Sometimes I will say I prefer the product manager have a strong technique background, but like for some company, that's not the normal case. Many people really just from the industry and then they become the product manager. They got maybe like zero knowledge about technique. Sometimes they come up with idea not very easy to achieve. But like there could be things. So yeah, it's really important to say if you could like work with them, because they gonna be your the people you meet every day later on. And after culture fit, if you feel okay, that's my place, and they also willing to have you on board, you get success and you will join this place. Yeah. Good. So yeah, as I mentioned, I feel when I get my first role, my service design skill helped me a lot. So why later here I want to maybe talk a bit more about how I apply my service design skill in my like daily work, or like tell people or like educate other designer about service design. I think one thing being highlighted is like every time when I had an interview or like join a new company, I feel people really care a lot about those methodology things. When you tell people, oh, I know Double Diamond, and they will feel, oh, yes, that's something we want to use. That's something really helpful for me, for our team. We are use Double Diamond, but come on, lots of time people don't really use Double Diamond. They just pop out this methodology and say, okay, we are use it. Yeah, so I feel like people from service design had a really good understanding about what's Double Diamond. And also many of us even understand more different design methodology. So for the different project, you will want to use different methodology to applying for different solution. Different situation. Yeah, so maybe you don't realize, but Double Diamond is a quite strong background. Like you can tell people, I understand what's a whole design process, and this could be really helpful. Second is, I think that's something I got from that's something I learned from service design. Is service design change the way how I thinking. So you guys probably have more like a systematic way to think. So when you when you try to find a solution, it's not only consider user experience, you also consider what kind of value you can bring to the business, what's the technique feasibility. So it's not like traditional way of thinking. It's not like that's a problem, that's a solution. So you do consider wider elements. There are more things you want to consider, and also I think many people are already thinking in this way. Just I think it's worth to mention when you had an interview, tell people I think that's this is the way how I'm thinking, and I think it will be a valuable thing for your company. So here is the example, like how I use service journey map or blueprint to help the business understand their process. As I mentioned, supply chain is like quite complicated process, and there are many cross-functional team involved in this process, and also we have many other like third party there as well. So to really understand for each step who is involved, what kind of technology we are using, what kind of limitation we have, what kind of basic operation we need. There are a lot of column you want to fulfill in, and to understand where is the gap, where is the pain. It's kind of like a process mining things, but like you are doing this process mining things manually to understand what kind of opportunity you have. In other words, I would say you are trying to identify the root of the complicated journey, and try to narrow down this. Try to split this complicated journey to small tasks. So after I had those service journey or blueprints, I discussed with the product manager or the people who proposed, oh, I got a new idea. I want to say if it's able to become live. So the next thing I would really like build each small UX task board. So those things I want to do more research, or those requests I can really just start to design. So we put things like, you can say I put like points there. So point is a thing we use a lot in agile way to work. So every time we normally have 2-week sprints. So before every sprint, team should come in together and give a estimate point, basically how long time or how much effort you need to solve the problem. So it's like a way to manage how long time you need to fulfill the request. That's what's the point. So yeah, just want to mention it. Cool. So here I feel like I can also talk a bit more about other skills. So I want to say like service design is a skill like helped me get my first role, but I will also want to mention there are more different skills. It's also important and valuable for like work for your daily work, and also words to mention in your interview, or somehow like show those things in your portfolio. I think there are two type of situation here. One is like new people just graduate. So for many companies, if they are hiring someone more like a junior role, they don't really expect you. They wouldn't really throw you in a project all by yourself. They wouldn't just leave you there, let you like deal with the whole situation. So when how you come in is more about there will have someone mentoring you. Someone will like help you to improve your strategy skill, or like the way how you're thinking. To how to open that door, I feel like, for example, when we review portfolio, for each portfolio, maybe people have less than 30 seconds. Once when the first time people open your website, they wouldn't really able to say what kind of degree you have, what kind of thinking methodology, or like what kind of soft skill you have. So a quite strong visual presentation can help you to stand out. Like, oh, at least people can believe if they give you any like UI skill, UI task, you can do it perfect, and they can feel okay. These people have a good visual skill, so I can put this person. I can let this junior person come in and to do those like UI work, and then later on we can grow up together to do more things about UX, and then come into the whole product strategy. So yeah, I think one thing really good is about visual skill is always a thing can help you to get in the industry. Once you get in the industry, everything could. Another is yes, it's a true. So yeah, it's quite funny I say that, but that's a true. So once you get in the industry, things could be very, very different. And then other thing important, I think, is storytelling skill. So you are here to sell your design. I don't think there's a perfect design, but there always have better design. Design is not like a black or white things. It's really hard to say if that's a right design for current situation. So it's, as a designer yourself, you need to sell your idea. You need to make sure other people buy your idea. So how you tell the story is quite important. Third one is like say no to imposter syndrome. So I feel lots of people feel, oh, I got like 100 rejection, or I don't have any interview invitation. Does that mean I'm really not good? I want to say like sometimes really up to the market's situation. So for example, this year it is a quite a low moment for the market. You actually really good, so don't feel, oh, that's you are not good. No, it's not like that. So so for example, last year I see many people success in transfer their role to UX, but like for this year I haven't really heard anyone get a new job in this industry, like at least around me. So I feel like it's been a difficult time recently. But anyway, like so I would say during those like low time for the markets, there are much more stuff you can do, like improve yourself, enjoying your life, and know those things you want to do. So just don't feel like you are not good. You are good. It's just like maybe that's a bad time for now. It's that mean you are not good. Yeah, it's really a thing. So yeah, and then other suggestion for like career changer. So I know like in my class I meet people used to be a more like finance background. Some people even more like engineer or biology engineer background. So yeah, it could be interesting. But you know, like those experience you had in the past, it's still valuable. And for example, like UX is a industry we really like people from architect. I don't know why. Maybe that's also about like building things, but yeah, it's been interesting. So really transfer your past experience to your research field. It will be really really important. Like don't feel you are post what you have in the past and then start a brand new things. And I know people from like customer service become a UX designer because they know more about how to ask right questions. They know how to find the quick and suitable solution for user. That's all a useful skill. So yeah, building another could be like building your personal branding. So you are someone have like a double background. That's really cool. So I think don't feel you like you start late. It's not like you start late. It's more like you are someone have double skill and different background. It's been something also very valuable. So another thing I want to mention is like networking. I would say networking is important. Um, Many people get their first role or no people get refer. Refer is useful thing. Refer can really help you at some moment to find a new opportunities. And so for networking, I may suggest people to for example like really use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is helpful. LinkedIn could work. Sometimes email people who have an open role and you are interested in, that's also work. So I got my first role by email this company's tech VP. So I really like directly reach out to the hire manager and I get the first role. Other things could be designer meetup. So it's also important to meet people in that industry. For example, I'm interested to know what's Google's UX designer daily life. I maybe I want to reach out on LinkedIn, they wouldn't really answer me, but like if I get chance to meet people in their Google's UX meetup event, that would be really helpful. I could understand how they think and I would understand what's the difference or the gap between myself and them. So yeah, do go those designer meetup. Some of those meetup or even offer like free drinks and alcohol. So yeah, really do it. Other thing could be mentor program. So as I mentioned, UAL have a really good industry mentor program. So you can meet people in that industry, but also there are many other UX mentoring program in London. So do find those kind of mentoring program for yourself to meet new people and meet mentor. And I feel like try to maintain this mentoring relationship will really help you. You don't only need this mentoring thing help you to find your first role, but also after you get the job, how you really start to work in like transfer the study environment to a work environment. You may also need some suggestion or want to know how can you quickly adapt in this new environment. That's all things could be really you will need someone to help. Some company also have mentoring program help you to maybe get a better understanding about the business. But overall, for your own personal improvement or like grow your personal interest, find a mentor will be really helpful things. Yeah. So yeah, coming to later and talk about like how I joined Burberry. So yeah, I joined Burberry last year, and when I joined Burberry, before I joined Burberry, I actually did a lot of interview again this time. So remember I had at least 32 interviews, and some of those company I was thinking, wow, how could they give me chance? But yeah, don't feel you are not good. You are good there, and in the end, I select Burberry is more because I feel like I want to learn how can I have a big how to work with a company, have a big global users, and also how to use data to drive my design decision. That's all like those questions I asked in the interview. I asked them like what kind of thing or how you make those design decisions. So I heard they talk about, okay, we will use data to drive design decision, and okay, that's something I really want to learn. So I come on board. But yeah, design is interview is always a quite like long journey or like difficult for everyone. Yes. So yeah, for this round, I remembered last year I also did some. I also asked my mentor about how can I improve my portfolio and CV, how can I prepare interviews. So yeah, I feel there have some like CVs templates, or your CV could be the thing first to make to let the recruiter buy in. Because the recruiter probably is someone don't really know design too much. They all their decisions made by your CV. It's worth to mention what kind of skill you have, what kind of soft skill you have. If you if your project, if you only have your like uni project, I think you can put them in your experience to like, for example, you had a chance work with a public organization. I think that's also it's also good experience. That's cool. You can put this in your experience. Not only like those. So I feel like at the beginning, your save you don't have to only put those job you get paid. It's more about your experience. You need to show what kind of skill you have. You can use like bullet points to point out what's a skill you have. So for example, like stakeholder management, and then describe what kind of thing you did there. And also worth to mention few data, like for example, what's how many users use your products, how much time you served for your users. All those kind of data is also a good thing to for a good thing for recruiter to decide if they want to go ahead with your application, because they don't really know design too much. All their decision could only made by those data, this number, or those blue points scale. If your scale matches what's the job description, then they can move you forward. Another again is also about your website. So I do feel like have a fancy website will be a helpful things. If you don't it's the same as I mentioned before, like when people first open your website, it's just like few seconds. So how can you really catch their attention and don't let them go? It's also very important. So yeah, there are many good website reference website there. So get some reference. And also a useful way is that to, if you're interested in one for example, I'm very interested in Google's designer. I would go to check what Google's designer's website looks like, and then you could learn a lot from there. Yeah, finally it's about storytelling, so it's more about interview. So yeah, how can you sell yourself? So yeah, it's need a time to practice, and maybe need some people give you some mentoring thing to help you to learn how to tell story. But yeah, that's some tips for interviews. And then, yeah, I feel after I joined Burberry, one thing I realized quite important is the skill about identify the question or identify the opportunity. Um, we are always saying like we want to be a good problem. We our focus is about solve the problem, but like how can you find the right problem or the opportunity or the pinpoint at the beginning? It is a very challenge skill. That's also something I feel like I learned a lot during the work environment. So to understand how can you really ask right questions during the workshop or those testing section, it's also a skill. So that's another thing I want to mention is like ask right questions. So find the right problem, identify the pinpoint or identify the opportunity. That's one thing. So how can you do it? Is by like ask right questions. It could be ask a right question to your target user, could be ask a question to those key stakeholders. So yeah, that's something I would say could be very useful for people who after you join the company as a junior and then you want to kind of improve your skill a bit more and to show what kind of thing you can bring to the business. I think like talk about how to define the opportunity is also a very interesting thing. Yeah, so I want to maybe give an example here. So for example, for Burberry, we are very like an e-commerce platform. Sometimes I got the question like, how can we improve our shopping bag experience? So that's a very wide question, like how can I improve shopping bag experience? So then on, you probably want to ask the right question, like which part of do we have any new service is coming up? For example, like gifting service, or like so those is more like those business decision. That's a new service we could have, and then you may want to ask a question to data team, maybe about where is the most so how's the drop off rate, so on which step people drop off. That could be useful information for you to really solve the problem about how can I improve a shopping bag. They've got many of those kind of things. That's where I want to talk about like identify the question could be challenge, because you don't feel that's very obvious things when it's coming to like enhance experience that could be quite challenge and needs a deep research. Yes. And then, yeah, I think other things maybe interesting for people is to understand what's it's the right place for you. I feel this because I want to talk about this because I have those like quite different work environments during my working time. Like one is like a startup. I'm setting the tech team and work very closely with engineer and product designer every day. But for my current role, I'm more like sit in the design team. I work closely with other designer. Those designer could be content designer, visual designer, 3D designer, or creative tech. So it's very different environments. And sometimes I will say like for yourself, you need to figure out where is the place, what's the right work culture you want to have, or what's the right team structure for yourself. Yes, I mentioned, for example, for Burberry. So it looks like we are only taking care of one platform, like one website. So but like behind it, we have like around 13 people in product design team. We have another maybe 20 on content design. So they taking care all those image campaign, email things we send out or social media stuff. And then we also have another around 10 people on creative tech. So things about fancy VR, AR or metaverse stuff. So yeah, that's all like different role, and how those designers work together is also a different experience. Yeah, so another thing I think interesting to mention, yeah, as I mentioned about, so the difference between startup and those like more bigger organization. Product have a life cycle. So for example, for startup, normally or like generally, it's like a very early stage. So you the question or the problem there is quite obvious. So you just need to really find the right or suitable solution for those basic function. And then later on, maybe when it's coming to second stage is about how can you grow this product fast, and then on there, that's totally different skill you will need for identify the new opportunity, and how to quickly action, how to really quickly plan. That's the kind of like different thing around a product is like growing fast, and then maybe coming to those established product, it's become I don't know, I wouldn't really say it's more difficult. It's just different. So the product already exists there for like very, very long time. And how can you bring something innovative to this kind of like old guy? So yeah, that's different scale and different environment. So do you think about what kind of stage of a product you want to join or you want to work for? You want to design a brand new stuff, you want to enhance the experience, or somehow you want to join those company already established for a long while, and you just want to say how can you like bring new idea could adapt under those under a established product. So find the right place for yourself, and those work environments also could be quite different. And I think work environment is quite important things for you, for yourself. So because that's the place you will work 9 to 5 every day. If you don't enjoy it, you wouldn't be happy. Yeah. Yeah, then yeah, like those, it's coming to the end of my talk today. So I really want to ask people about think about what kind of product designer or UX designer you want to be, and what kind of industry you are interesting to do in future. So could be, for example, I put a few example like B2B Saas, e-commerce, fintech, database, and what kind of skill is your skill? Like some people are really good at user research. Maybe you will want to more like join B2B SaaS. Those kind of place require a lot of research. If you have like really strong visual skill, you maybe want to go like e-commerce, work with things like more visual focus. And for example, like data analyze, some people could be really good at data analyze, good at data analyze. You may want to go like database platform. Yeah, so it's could be very different, and find your skill and where is your place. I think it's very important. Yeah, I've been asked about my timeline, so that's my timeline. So I joined. So I think it's around like 2020 to 2021. I'm doing my main projects, and also I had a part-time job in a Chinese marketing company. So I was there as a digital designer. And then I don't recommend doing this, but yeah, I just want to mention. So yeah, if you want to have some experience, find a part-time job or doing some internship, it will be good. So yeah, but as long as you have time. So yeah, do focus on your main projects. I don't really recommend people like go find a job and don't do your main project. Okay, so yeah, after I graduated, I joined Collective Foods for around 1.5 years, and then I moved to Burberry, and I'm here around 10 months now. So yeah, that's my journey. And then thank you. If anyone want to keep in touch, you can find me on LinkedIn. And if you want to ask any question more like specifically to your case, just let me know. I saw one question here. Let me quickly say it. Could you talk a little bit about the process? Yeah, one thing. Yun Junliang. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no, it's a mistake. I just pressed that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, if you got any question, just let me know.
Hi, Tiannan. I asked a question.
Yes. Yeah, I saw a question in the chat. Let me.
I asked the question in the chat.
Yeah.
Thanks, first of all, thanks for sharing your experience. But I wanted to maybe hear a little bit more about what was this process. You said that you were like to 32 job interviews, right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, it will drive me crazy, right? But like, how was this process of also learning from each interview and integrating to the new one, or maybe not learning sometimes at all, but like, how did you keep improving, or did you have any like systematic way of integrating feedback and improving in next interviews?
Yes. So I will do so for example, I feel sometimes, for example, last year I have many wrong is like the after a recruiter call, they wouldn't really move me to hire manager round. Perhaps I would say it's like people consider I have less years work experience. In that case, I cannot really do anything, but I would maybe like write an email to this recruiter, to mention again about I feel you value those kind of skill a lot. That's those kind of skill, those skill I have. I want to just like mention this again, and maybe that could be some valuable notes for you to share with hire manager. I feel that's useful. I feel after I send out those kind of email to just kind of double mention about those kind of skill I have to the recruiter. So you kind of like do them a favor, like they don't need to write notes anymore. So you also let them send out the note you want to share with hire manager. If they ever feel okay, you are the strong candidate, like the people who I want to move forward, they will help you like present your notes instead of their notes. Yeah, because you do know your skill yourself more than them. That's something I feel like useful after after I use this method, I got more interview in coming to like higher manager round, and on higher manager round, they will give you a chance to ask them questions. I will ask them like, is there any skill you value a lot and I didn't mention? If you, they probably will tell you what kind of skill they are really looking for. And then later on, when it's coming to case study, you can maybe like more focus on those skills they are looking for, so you can prepare them in your case study. And then yeah, case study could be very tricky around is like you cannot really cover all your scale or all your design process just in 1 hours, or like even more, just like 30 minutes. I feel around this case study, I normally do is like I put one case studies about those experience or those design process. Coming to this part, they are more interesting to know what's your design process. I will put another one is about design, so like UI. So I do want to show them my UI skill is strong. what kind of interaction design I can do, what kind of prototype I can make. So yeah, so I feel that's a method I use for now. Yeah, and then later on is about culture fit. So be nice, or like show you are like happy person. Don't be too shy is helpful. So yeah, just yeah. And then after it's probably you already get hired. So yeah, it's all like done after this 3-4 rounds. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's my experience. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the so I will answer the question about what leads me to service design, and then why are you and then why are you interested in UI UX those kind of role. So I would say I always want to work in tech, and always I know I want to do product design. The reason why I didn't choose, so I had an interview with MA user experience as well, but I feel like service design is like a wider scale. Like we cover things more, so you don't only as I mentioned at the beginning about you have this more like systematic way to thinking. So you not only think about users perspective, you also think about key stakeholder and also maybe the decision maker. So sometimes, for example, for B2B products, you are designing things for those employee, but the people who paying it is a leadership. So you are really need to think about how can I let leadership buy my products, but also let their people happy about this product. This is not only about users experience, it's also about the strategy. I feel those kind of thinking method is what I learned from service design. So yeah, it's I feel like at least when you have interview with UI UX design later on, you could also mention I have background in service design. It's much cool. Yeah. About the notes. Yes. So another question about the notes I mentioned, I will send to recruiter or hire manager. So this is like the note. I will first like say I'm really happy to chat with you today about this role, and here I prepared some notes that I feel it will be valuable for you to it will be valuable insight for hiring manager to make the decision. And then normally I will put like so for example like key stakeholder management, and then I describe what kind of thing I did for in my current role about key stakeholder management and related to what they need. So yeah, that's that. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's how I share the notes. Yeah, so yeah, that's a note. Yeah, sometimes work. So yeah, cool. Yeah, I would just send out by email. Or if you don't have their email, you can reach out them on LinkedIn. But I feel email is better. Yeah, LinkedIn maybe some people will miss your message. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's all the question. Thank you, thank you. The most difficult aspect of your job. Yeah, so people ask about what's the most difficult aspect of your job. I'm gonna try to answer this if I understand it's right. I feel the most difficult part is, at least for me, is actually the storytelling. So really, after you design things and how you communicate with leadership or other people to let them believe, okay, that's a right decision, or that's or just really let them understand why you propose this solution. Yeah, I would say many times there is no perfect design, so you cannot really say, okay, that's 100% right. So how can you let other people buy you in? It's also important. And also, for example, for Burberry, we design a brand new website. Maybe our KPI is like how much revenue we can bring in, but it's also really up to, for example, paid social media. Do they really able to like send your advertisements to the right target user, or maybe there could have any kind of like technique issue. For example, we don't accept those kind of payment methods, so people cannot really buy it. There could have so many things impact the final result. So yeah, it's really more about how you communicate to your teammates to let them believe that's a right decision you are making, and also involve people as early as possible. Sometimes I will say it in those like key stakeholder, like during discover. It could be very beginning from discover. So like let people participate in your workshop. Put them in the same room with you, so they could understand why you make those decisions. Yeah. Yes, I think, yeah, that's. Is there any other question? You or anyone just want to ask any question more related to yourself? It's also okay. Yeah. If not, I think that's everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Tianna. It's been very insightful, and yeah, we definitely learned a lot. Yeah, this recording will be posted to our blog, and will probably be also sent out to you as well.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah, if anyone have other questions, just message me on LinkedIn. I will answer. Thank you. Cool. Have a lovely Thursday.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.